Hi there, my name is Katwamba Mutale. I'm a third year fashion photography student. I'm studying for the LCF officer role because I want to improve the student experience as it moves to Stratford campus. I'm focusing on making sure that the student experience remains affordable and inclusive and welcoming. My main priorities will be making sure that the cost of living crisis is effectively supported by the university as students move to Stratford campus. So it's making sure that cost of living is supported as well as costs of studies, ensuring that students at LCF can afford to study well as well as balance like the other aspects of their student experience. I also want to make sure to focus on the Black and international attainment, which is higher. And so working with UAL to make sure to close that gap. That's all for me.
Great, thank you. Just going to spotlight Luca. There we go. And Luca, once you start talking, the timer will start.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, hi, my name is Luca. I have 3 years of experience as a course rep and 1 year experience as school rep. And through all these conversations that I have identified a couple of main issues, I think, which is, of course, the move to Stratford. Obviously, moving 6,000 students to one place is a huge impact on the student community, when the SU and the uni need to work together to build a strong community, and the university needs to be held accountable for all issues that may arise. I also want to work on more transparency. I want to improve the feedback loop so that students are aware where their feedback ends up through all the feedback pyramid from course rep to school rep to LCF officer. I want to have more industry engagement within the courses. I want to host more industry talks within the courses, and also have more collaborations between industry and students. And I also want to improve career support for students, which is, of course, job fairs for current students, which need to be tailored way better to the students.
Cool. Sorry, thank you. Great. Next, I will spotlight Ty, and then Ty, once you start talking, the timer will start.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Hi, my name is Debnam, your current LCF sabbatical officer. I'm excited to be rerunning for this role. As a member of the LCF community for 5 years now, I understand the inner workings of both UAL and the needs of my peers. It's been a privilege to improve the student experience, specifically focused on increasing employability, increasing a sense of community, and elevating student voices to be more central to UAL. We've pushed through a lot, but our next challenge is our move to the Stratford campus. And I believe that a move that doesn't prioritize students' needs isn't a move worth having. I am standing for re-election because 1 year is just not enough time. I've been working with LCF in many ways to improve our overall student experience and would love an opportunity to see my priorities through. We have been able to achieve so much in the past year, from increasing funding to celebrate the beautiful array of identities within UAL, to curating an exhibition for LCF designers and filmmakers for the Mayor of London, to pushing the university to deliver on its decolonization and anti-racism strategies. Re-elect me for 1 more year will allow me to not only see my priorities through, but to make our previous achievements bigger and better. Bigger events, better advocacy. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to quickly grab the questions. Fabulous. Great. So, I will start with the first question, and Katwamba, you'll be the first person to answer the first question, and then it will be Luca and then Ty. And the question that you'll all be answering in that order is, what do you think are the main issues facing London College of Fashion students?
So I believe the main issues London College of Fashion students are facing is cost of living and cost of studies. Like the prices is just extortionate, and many students are finding it hard to balance being able to study and having to work increasingly, and just having to make unnecessary sacrifices in order to make ends meet. And also think community isn't the main issue that LCS students are facing, especially due to coming out of the pandemic. Many students are finding it difficult to make connections, collaborate, and lastly, the main issue I think LCF students facing is attainment, specifically making sure that grades can be met, as well as just ensuring that like the disparity between particular groups of students isn't huge. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Okay. Luca, same question. What do you think are the main issues facing London College of Fashion students?
Well, I think that one of the main issues at the moment is, of course, that there's very little industry engagement within the courses. And I think this can be helped with how hosting more industry talks at Stratford. Obviously, I think also community as in a wider sense is a big issue at LCF, which with having a lot of different buildings. And I think the move next year to Stratford can help a lot. However, it will also lead to a lot of confusion. And I think the university needs to be held accountable for that. It needs to inform students better, and it needs to just guide students better through this new move and build this community.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to spotlight Ty. Fabulous. And Ty, same question. What do you think are the main issues facing London College of Fashion students?
So from speaking with students and reading various reports about the overall student experience, I feel that there are four main issues facing LCF students at the moment. That's our imminent move to Stratford, cost of living, employability, and on-campus community. All of these aspects are essentially what make up the overall student experience. Basically, if students are having to choose between paying for course materials or eating, there's an issue. If students do not feel a part of a community on campus, that's an issue as well. And if students are not industry ready once graduating from a leading university, there's an issue as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so move on to the next question, and the running order will be Luca, Ty, then Katwamba. So starting with Luca, I'm just going to spotlight. Cool. The question is, what is one way you would improve the student experience at LCF?
Well, I think there's actually two ways that are very important to me. First of all is increasing employability through, first of all, alumni support and also better career fairs. And then I think it's also really important to just make this whole representation pyramid more important. From course rep to school rep to LCF officer, I think it's really important to have regular check-ins on all levels. And I think it's the move to Stratford can really help that in just having a better meeting place for everyone.
Fabulous, thank you. And just gonna change spotlight. And Ty, same question. What is one way you would improve the student experience at LCF?
Thank you. I feel like there are so many ways in which we could potentially improve the student experience at LCF. However, the most imminent issue right now is the cost of living crisis, which directly feeds into the current housing crisis. Being that over half of our students at LCF are international, one of my priorities going forward would be to push the university to act as a guarantor for students renting private accommodation. This would not only lift a heavy burden off of international students, but also our home students who are on bursary or hardship funds.
Fabulous, thank you. And I'm going to stop spotlighting, and then Katwamba, when you're ready, the question is, what is one way you would improve the student experience at LCF?
One way which I improve the student series at LCF is by helping to tackle the cost of studies. So ensuring that more funding is available for LCF students in order to help to fund their studies, as costs are extremely high right now. And I don't want to make sure that students are able to not have to make unnecessary sacrifices in order to study and be able to make sure that they can make the work that they want to create.
Great, thank you, everyone. Okay, so we're on to the third and final question. Cool. And the running order will be Ty, Katwamba, and then Luca. Fabulous. Let me just spotlight Ty. Okay, so the third and final question is, how will you work with school reps and course reps in LCF to ensure their feedback is recognized at all levels?
Amazing. Being the current LCF officer, I have found that we have access to rooms and meetings that some students may not. With that being said, the way in which I will ensure student feedback is recognized at all levels will be essentially to bring student concerns that cannot be solved at course level to UAL's key decision makers. This includes our head of college, Andrew, Dean of Students, Mark Crowley, and James Purnell. This method has proven effective through my year in office thus far, having pushed forward campaigns such as reinstating the shop on the New Stratford campus, removing police from our campuses, and accessing funding for student sponsorships and activities. Thank
Great.
you.
Thank you. I'm going to move on to Katwamba for the next.
Oops, sorry.
So I'll just repeat the question. How will you work with school reps and course reps in LCF to ensure their feedback is recognized at all levels?
I would work through by making sure I establish open lines of communication to ensure the key feedback that I'm receiving has been dealt with, and there's like key patterns that which can pass on to the appropriate members at the UAL higher body, and then make sure that this is given the response that I've given back to them will be given to them to ensure that it's been met, and find ways to which I can actualize if the feedback is able to be seen through, or if there's other ways we can work with the feedback to have
Cool.
meetings and
Thank you.
communication. So
Thank you. Thank you. Just going to move on to Luca for the third and final question. Fabulous. Luca, the final question, which I'll repeat as well. How will you work with school reps and course reps in LCF to ensure their feedback is recognized at all levels?
Well, having been a course rep and a school rep before, I think I'm really good at understanding the needs. So I would really be present on the campus, which is relatively easy at Stratford. I would publish a weekly newsletter to all reps where I can really keep them updated on what is happening. And I would really try to support all reps from the start of the academic year to help them push their initiatives forward.